Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just a quick query. For number 11, confidential matters, unlike the part we have for Sandwich Town Council, it just lists the reason why we're going to confidential, but it doesn't actually have what we're going to be talking about on there.
It does say item 1, doesn't it, at the bottom?
Are you looking at the town council or the
Talbot Fund. So you see under item 11, unlike how it's listed in town council in previous meetings, it just says this is the reason why we're going confidential, but it doesn't actually list that we've got something to discuss for this attachment.
Cooking is going to discuss the information relating to the particular employer.
It just doesn't really say. So if you were to look at, say, the town council ones we've just had, under the confidential matters, it has the first bit, the reason we're going confidential, and then it lists 2 and 3, so approving extraordinary minutes and then consider things that I've raised.
This hasn't been to the STBF meeting.
Yes,
this
no,
item hasn't been to the STBF meeting.
Yes, so that's the reason I'm raising it. I'm saying that the way it's laid out, you have, so if you look at the town council agenda, you have item I, so the reason we're going to it,
yeah, because this
but it doesn't say.
Already further.
It says attach 15. I don't see any point in, talking about the way things are set out.
I think it's just important that
Is
it's
it?
noted.
Or are you just noting it because it's,
I think it's very.
It's all in attachment 15, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't.
I'm just saying it comes across as a tiny bit
Councillor
unfair.
Anderson?
That's Anderson.
Can I just speak to this?
Yeah.
As I understand it, when items are proposed to be confidential, the committee has to vote to accept that. And the reason as to why the item is confidential has to be listed. And those reasons, and there's a long list of them, under Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. In the past, we've never actually had the reason given when we vote to decide whether a matter should be confidential. And I'm very pleased to see that by virtue of the paragraph specified against the item, and that paragraph is paragraph I in that Schedule 12A. And that explains why the matter should be confidential.
You may have misunderstood me. So that is listed, that is correct, and I think that's good it's listed. I'm just saying that that's all it lists. Unlike the town council one which we've just had, it says, there's an item from Councillor Sampson about whatever. Whereas we don't have that.
These items need to be discussed
But it
at the
doesn't matter, does
STBF
it? You're
fund
bringing up every
first
single thing.
before
I'm
we
just
can
thinking it
move
needs to be-
forward to the other items.
Yeah.
But you still need to include it in the agenda. So it's an I if we're voting on for it to be confidential regarding the particular on number 1. And number 2 is what we discuss of what we're going to discuss about. It's an on there.
I don't think we should be bullying.
Well, it means that the
I don't
agenda
think
is
I-
inaccurate then.
It's not inaccurate.
It's
No.
not
It's
even.
a confidential matter.
You're just trying to prove that.
No, can we
No, not at
go?
all.
No, we're not. Can we
It's not,
look?
I just think it should be
Can we
noted.
move on, please?
Yeah.
Okay, we move on. Thank you. Item 1, apologies for absent received.
Councillor D. Carter, Councillor E. Carter, personal reasons, Councillor Friend, DDC work commitments, Councillor Chandler from DCC work commitments.
Okay, thank you. Are we all happy with the apologies because they were given at previous? Right, okay, thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest. To receive any declaration of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. Okay.
Just Mr. Mayor, sorry, Mr. Chairman. I think there are two people in the room who probably should declare an interest for the confidential item, considering what we are discussing, which I obviously can't talk about in public at the moment. I believe this was raised at the previous extraordinary meeting as well.
I believe they've,
No.
I think that has been resolved,
Yeah.
councillor.
yeah, that's been resolved, you've got to know
It's
about it.
still in the attachment. They probably should say, just declare an interest. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit.
Stop talking now.
Councillor. They don't have to. No, they don't. Okay, thank you. Item 3. Minutes of the previous meeting. To approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Sandwich Town Council as trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund held on Monday the 30th of January 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. Attachment 1. Okay. Do we have a proposer, seconder? Proposed by Councillor Lawrence, second Councillor. All in favour of the minutes? Thank you.
Oh, I should abstain, I don't think I was there.
Oh, okay, fine, abstention, okay. Item 4, payment schedules. 1, to approve the Sandwich Town Bridge Fund a payment schedule for February, attachment 2. Do you have a proposer? A seconder? All in favour? Thank you. 2, to approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall payment schedule for February, attachment 3. Do you have a proposer? Seconder? We're all in favour? You have,
Town
you
clerk,
against?
could you note my, I'm against.
Yeah.
Thank you.
3, to approve the Museum and Archives payment schedules for February, attachment 4. Proposer? Lawrence. Seconder? Councillor Lawrence. All in favour? Thank you. 5, finances.
Mr. Mayor, can we do 5 on block, if council agrees?
Except for 4.
Except for 4.
Well, you see, I'm going to vote for number 4. I'm going to vote against the others.
Oh.
So it's no good taking them off.
Well, we can still do them on block, you just,
So they can't be held on block.
no, we can't have them on block, we'll have to do them individually. Okay. 1, to receive and note the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund statement of accounts as at 31st of January 2023, attachment 5. Proposer, seconder. I think it's passed, thank you. 2, to receive and note the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall statement of accounts as at 31st of January 2023, attachment 6. Proposer,
I'll propose.
okay, thank you. Yeah. To receive and note the Sandwich Guildhall Museum statement of accounts as at 31st of January 2023, attachment 7. Councillor Moorhouse, Councillor Silver, all in favour? 4, to receive and note the Quilter Cheviot Investment Management Monthly Report as at 31st of January 2023, attachment 8.
We just did that.
Yeah.
We just did that one.
No, it didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, it isn't.
4.
No, 4.
Museum.
I just voted for something, I'm not for.
Yeah, item 3 you just voted for.
Vote to accept the museum.
Guildhall Museum, you voted to accept.
Well, number 4 now, councillor.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I know that, yeah.
So, we've got a proposal, seconder for item 4.
Propose.
Seconder. All in favour? Okay, thank you. 5, to receive and consider a report from the responsible finance officer regarding a drawdown from investments, attachment 9. Got proposer, seconder. Councillor Wells.
Seconded.
Thank you. Item 6, Sandwich Tollbridge Fund and Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall 2023 and 24 budgets. To receive and approve budgets for Sandwich STBF, Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall for the year 2023-24, attachment 10A, 10B, 10C, 10D, 10E. Do you have a proposer? Do we do on block? On block? All in favour? Oh, Councillor Wells, Councillor Evans. All in favour of doing them on block?
Are you all in, are you in favour?
What are we voting on, whether we're in favour or whether we accept it?
favour of
En bloc. So, I mean, I'm all in favour that we
Do it on block.
approve the budgets, but Councillor Morehouse doesn't. Okay. Thank you. 7. Grant applications. To receive and consider the following grant application, please note the 2023-24 budget is 20,000, which 7,000 has already been allocated, and there is already an overspend of £10,020 on this year's grants budget. Number 1 is a grant application for Sandwich in Blue for 3,000 towards the new Kew Guards initiative in Sandwich, attachment 11. Councillor Sampson.
Yeah, so I very much support this grant application, and I believe communication has been received, and that they're happy for this to also be in the next year grant budget, which I believe that starts April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we should go ahead with this. Sandwich and Blue does a brilliant job around the town, making it look truly beautiful. And obviously, you know yourself, Mr. Mayor, from watering. It just makes the town look fantastic, and I think we should support them.
Thank you.
I second
I second
that.
You've got a second? You're in favour that? Okay. Okay. 8. Update on museum operation. To consider and note and update reports on museum operations, attachment 12. Hope you've all read them. Do you propose that, Councillor Wallace?
Yeah, there's a couple of points in this report that I think need to be highlighted. First of all, I've been in communication with the museum coordinator, and they're not aware of any written contract or commitment that says that the old tourist office has to be used as temporary exhibition space, and that space is in the frame for the potential relocation of the tourist office. So I think we need to acknowledge within this report that that's not a cut and dried situation as far as that space is concerned. I think the other thing I'd pick up in this is that it says being unable to offer equally professional temporary exhibitions is likely to be having a huge effect on visitor numbers. And I don't see any evidence of that. There's no evidence to back up that statement. So I'd like that to be acknowledged in the minutes.
Yeah, I think we'll have to ask the previous curator, who was one that applied for, got the grant for that front bit, which was the former tour. She got the grant to turn it into a temporary office space, so we'll have to contact her, because she must have some paperwork.
There's no paperwork. I've asked the question.
Well, okay.
Thank you, Chairman. I haven't seen any letter that says that it should be used for temporary exhibition. However, I was informed by Linda Elliott, who wrote the initial grant to the Heritage Lottery funding, that the grant offer letter, in accepting it, we agreed that we would have additional space.
Yeah.
And then the council had agreed that that space at the front would be used, and it was updated. But I haven't seen the extra evidence. I've only been told that it's there.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, the filing systems might not have been as good as they should be. And I think that is the problem for a new museum coordinator trying to go through all the information there, which some I think has just been put in a box, and there doesn't seem to be any system to it. So there's an awful lot for her to unpack.
Because there was also a curator that took after, wasn't there? John, can't think of his surname.
John May?
John Mayer.
Yeah, who passed away, unfortunately.
Well, I know there's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
has not been
Yeah.
perhaps
Yeah.
filed as it should
Yeah, as
be.
far as I'm aware, they got a grant to make that. There was cash involved, wasn't there?
Yes, they
There was
received
cash.
grant
We received
to,
cash.
to change that room into temporary, and it was done.
Yeah.
There were exhibitions that were coming, but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
We had to start again after COVID, I agree, and her report does highlight how that it's actually not yet fit for purpose, because there's other things that have to be considered in accepting exhibitions,
Yeah, because
which is, she's highlighted in her.
I remember they talked to Vodin, weren't they, a couple of years ago, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right, so, where are we? Who? Councillor Anderson.
Yes. Councillor Councillor Wiles circulated shortly before this meeting a long note from a Sandwich resident who is in this room about the previous corps of volunteer archivists, and it seemed to indicate that those volunteers feel somewhat upset, and I think we do have to be very, very careful about volunteers in this town. Some people think the town would collapse in its entirety if the volunteers didn't come forward. So we really do have to treat them with tender, loving care. And I am myself rather surprised that the previous volunteer archivists were not involved in discussions about, as I understand it, in discussions about what had happened previously in the archives and how they were being catalogued and so on, and what should happen in future. And I found that rather surprising and regrettable. And I think that in future, COVID obviously introduced a great pause in all sorts of things. And I think post-COVID, we should have been rather more careful about what had gone on before COVID and not sort of start from scratch. So I just wanted that recorded, that I think there have been aspects of this move, although I think the report itself by the museum coordinator is very professional and very comprehensive, but I think it does indicate that there was a certain lack of care about the previous archivist
Mr. Mayor,
team.
sorry, that letter from Dr. Chris Day is more about the next item
Oh, sorry.
than this item. This is really focusing on the
Okay.
museum.
This is her report, isn't it, we're talking about?
Mr Mayor, I'd like to make a motion,
Yeah.
please. It seems to me there's a tremendous amount of work going on with regard to the
There is.
museum, the archives, or the
Yeah.
collections, whatever they're going to be called. And I really do think we should bring back the museum committee to look at it, because you want to get people in there with specialist knowledge about these issues. As a general caucus, we don't all have that specialist knowledge, and I think we should bring back a committee that we can get the right people on there to help with the oversight and to support the museum coordinator as well, because I feel she's been a bit left at the moment, and it might be good to have some outside professional expertise on a museum committee.
And it would support,
So I'd like to
wouldn't
put that forward as a
Seconded.
motion.
it? Yeah, because I did ask her for this report, and I think she's done a very
Yeah.
good job.
She has,
And it's a
but
bit unfortunate that the people, you know, that there was a very large team, and she's working with a very small team, because she's using the Mayor's Parlour. And they did ask me at the last History Society if I could arrange to meet her, but I'm very worried about the atmosphere. So I will ask her if she would like to meet some of the a delegation, not all of the people that was there before, because I think some already helping that were there doing it previous, and they're only working because she's the only one that's allowed to go up in the attic to get the items down. She has to get the item down. She has to. They have to go through it. It's all being
Mr. Mayor, sorry, this is about the next item.
well.
We
we can
haven't
all-
got to
Yes,
archive.
but
Anyway, we're all happy with her report.
yes,
I
I
think-
would like to have this motion that we do set up a proper museum committee again with the right expertise on it, with councillors and inviting people who have knowledge.
We might have to put it on the next council meeting because this is just to
Okay.
note the report, isn't it, councillor?
Okay.
Okay. You in favour of proposing to note the report?
It is a good report, but
Yeah.
could we just amend the recommendation to say we note that the old tourist office might still be in the frame for being
Might be.
reused again? It might be.
Right.
And also that we need more evidence about this claim
Well,
that
we've had the cash, haven't we?
temporary
We've had the
exhibition
money.
space is affecting visitor numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Well, can I just general point on that, if museums do not refresh, it's kind of rather
Yeah.
well knowing that the offer gets stale and people don't come back again unless there's something fresh there. So I don't think you actually need to particularly
Yeah, we're
evidence
going
that.
to, okay,
It's
we're going to
common
vote on this
sense.
then. We all in favour to note the report? Okay, thank you. Item 10, conservation work on Sandwich Tithe map. To approve the payment of...
Sorry.
Number 9 is, yeah.
Oh, 9, yeah, I've been to... Museum collections move project update to receive a note and an update on the collections move and the management of the collection. Attachment 13. You all happy with that?
No.
Do we oppose the councillor?
Yeah, sorry, I refer back to the reference earlier about the letter from from Dr. Chris Day, who writes on behalf of the local history society. I sent this round to all councillors today,
Yeah.
so I hope they've all had a chance to read it. It does express concern both on behalf of the local history society and on behalf of a number of archivists, many of whom have been working in the attic for many years. And there's great concern about this notion that the museum and the archive now becomes a single entity, i.e. a museum collection. That's the first thing. There's also concern about where is the evidence of the fire and rescue service telling us, Sandwich, that archivists can no longer go up in the attic, but members of staff can. That doesn't seem quite right to me. We need more written evidence about what the attic can be used for, who can go up there, and we need evidence from the fire and rescue service to that effect. And then we also need clarity about exactly how the collection, the archive, whatever you want to call it, is going to be analysed and how items are going to be disposed of. And the archivists, the local history society, have been asking for meetings with the museum coordinator and had no response whatsoever. So there does need to be some kind of either a working group or a meeting or a summit meeting of some kind where these concerns can be raised and we can have a proper, because I feel they're being treated with disrespect. They've been working there for many years. Lots of people want to get into those archives for whatever reason, family history, writing books about Sandwich, and they're being denied that access. And now they're being treated rather paternalistically and told they can't access that without a member of staff watching them. So there's all these kind of issues which we need a proper working group or a meeting to,
Well, that's
to
why
discuss.
that's why we needed the museum
I think we
committee.
need the museum committee back again, because I really do think
Yeah.
we need it.
Yeah, yes, I agree with you. I thought the committees would just be on the Sandwich Town Council, you know, but there we go. We'd have to reform the museum committee.
The terms of reference for the new committees was just about Sandwich Town Council.
Yeah,
So
I know.
if there was a museums committee
There
Yeah.
was.
under
There
the
was.
Sandwich Fund, it has not been abolished.
No, it
No,
hasn't been
it should
abolished.
be reinvigorated, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. We should, because
But COVID has affected all these
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
yeah.
but we need to think. I really think we need to think about who to ask. There should be representative of the History Society. I forget all the names. There's a chap Dover whose name I can't remember. Who's very useful.
John Iverson.
That's it, John Iverson. Thank you.
But there's all this volunteer effort in the town which is being
Yeah, and
lost sight of.
and a representative from the volunteers. You know, there's a lot to discuss. It's a very big thing that's happening, and I think we have.
I think we set
oversight
a
of it.
council. I think we set a date for the museum committee
Yeah.
shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the best way
Just
forward.
wanted a point of clarity really. If the archivists have been advised, who were they advised by? Because if councillors aren't aware, who were they told that it was not safe to enter that area?
The fire brigade. We had a fire
But who,
inspection.
by who? Some, you know, the fire brigade.
Well, I don't know. The officer of the Kent Fire Brigade and the inspector come.
But surely if they would make that directive, it would be in writing,
It's
because
all
they would have to have
hearsay.
an audit trail. You know, I'm just curious. as
Well, I
to
don't
say-
know. Well, there you go. We've got a building manager that's been off 5 months. Where does he put it? I don't know.
Can I just say, I agree with everything Councillor Wiles says, but I really see any attic in a very old building isn't quite safe from fire, okay? Any building, as long as the archivists or the volunteers have booked in to the building so that we know where they are in case anything terrible should happen, like a fire, don't see a problem.
I think we're guided by King Fire Brigade,
We are.
and they didn't want anyone initially up there. They said that place is off limits, and it was only because I'm not sure, the CEO, I believe it was at the time, said we have to go up there because we're taking the items down. So you'll have to wait till we get hold of it from the Kevin's office where the certificate is.
Right.
So someone's going to have to go into Kevin's and rook out the certificate.
I
Can
don't
I,
know.
alternatively, that we contact the fire brigade and ask them, because
Just
they would have a
tell them.
record of that, wouldn't they? If someone could actually identify when it was in time, that we asked for a,
You can do that.
I
You
think-
do that. It's a good idea.
yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay. Where are we now?
Voting? We need to vote.
On to item 9, aren't we?
No?
What are we voting on though?
Number 9.
Number 9, Museum Collection
Receive
Move
a
Up
note,
project. To receive a note and update on the collection of move. Okay.
No.
No.
What are we on then?
We're Councillor Wiles. You
We,
made
we can't just note it, we have to note,
Well, it is receive a note.
but with the concerns that have been expressed.
There's quite a few concerns.
Quite a few concerns.
Yeah, there's
have been
quite a few
expressed.
concerns.
So
But
they-
we shall find out. We'll get information on the access to the thing, and then we're going to reconstitute the museum committee, or not reconstitute it. We'll have a meeting, form a meeting of the museum committee. Because I think most of the councillors are still here that was on the museum committee.
And invite the local history society and the
Well,
professional
before.
archivists who've been
Yeah.
denied access, and to get them around the table so they can talk about what's.
Well, it'll be
what
the
the
museum
process is.
committee, yeah, and we'll have a meeting. Yeah, it's the best way, isn't it? And then we'll have the museum
I'm not
coordinators
clear
there.
who- I'm not clear who the members of that committee are and how.
Yes, I think before, I would be prepared to accept a museums committee, but I do think that there are issues which just need to be discussed in as friendly and conciliatory a manner as possible, and that should be a much less formal kind of meeting to which people come who used to work in the archives and now feel they can't, people who are now currently helping with the archives, obviously with the museum coordinator, and just try and thrash out a few of these issues rather than have a formal museum committee deal with it. And I think it's urgent, and I would be prepared in my capacity as Heritage and Townscape Committee, and because when I was in paid work, I spent an awful lot of time dealing with students who were upset and staff who were upset. I spent a lot of time running those sorts of meetings. I would be prepared to run such an informal meeting where hopefully we could get a sense of proportion and cooperation developing. So that's what I would prefer, and of course if it becomes clear that perhaps out of that meeting that there really is a need for a museum committee, that would be part of its, what it would suggest.
I disagree with Councillor Anderson. I think a full formal committee for the museum is needed. The museum coordinator needs it. She needs the help and the expertise from archivists that works there, such as Miss Elliott and Miss O'Donoghue, and others from the History Society. So I second Councillor Fox's motion if she does one, to say that we should form a museum committee.
The mayor suggested he's going to call it.
Yeah, perhaps another thing is that we have an informal meeting and with the museum committee, the volunteers, the old archivists, and we just give them a glass of wine and just sit down and have a chat. And
So can we second Councillor Anderson?
it'll be an informal evening chaired by the mayor.
I don't want a museum committee, I want an.
No, there will be a
informal
museum. There is a museum committee.
chair. There will be.
There is
We haven't
one.
voted
There is
yet.
one.
There is one. It's dormant at the moment.
It's dormant.
In terms of references to the Tourist Fund haven't changed, so that the museum committee is still active,
Yeah.
but it's dormant.
Okay,
It
Well,
will
I
need
want to be on that
probably need new
committee.
members appointed to
So,
it.
along with Councillor Wiles.
Yeah.
I leave my offer on the table.
Okay.
It was
Can we move to, we've got some amendments there, haven't we, from this, this was to note, you want to, councillor Wiles, what's your little,
So my amendment
so-
is, trustees are, receives and notes the updated report on museum operations and
the fire, isn't it?
requires or instructs or requests the museum coordinator to arrange a roundtable meeting with all interested parties, facilitated by councillor Ungerson.
No, I don't think it should be, I think it should be the mayor.
It should be the
We've
mayor.
got-
I agree.
It's
with
the
mayor.
museum.
Yeah, I agree.
Facilitated by the mayor
It's a
in
museum.
order to discuss the way
Yeah.
forward and a common sense of purpose.
Yeah, work together.
But you already said that you want a committee.
Yes,
So
and the
it's not
museum,
for you to
the
facilitate,
councillor,
is it?
please, there is a committee called the museum committee and it's chaired by the mayor.
Mayor is leader of the council, so he chairs the meeting.
Okay,
Fully
okay.
aware of that.
Can we have a
Obviously not.
vote on that then? Voting for
What are we voting for?
councillor Wiles' amendments.
What I just said.
Could you just repeat it?
I'm not the Mr. Memory Man. Okay, trustee notes and receives the updated reports on museum operations and
Where's collections movement?
requires the and
Request.
request the council or request the museum coordinator to facilitate a roundtable discussion with all interested parties, facilitated by the mayor, at which all of the issues can be ironed out. Words to that effect.
Okay, all in favour of that? Lovely, thank you. Where are we now? Item 11, no, item 10 rather, sorry. Item 10, conservation work on Sandwich tithe maps. To approve the payment of conservation work on Sandwich tithe maps, attachment 14. Okay, it's more. Councillor Hampson, do you second it?
Yeah, happy to second. I'll just quickly remind councillors we've only got 50 minutes left.
Yeah, so we'll push it through now.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
need to be aware
Could you
of time.
just say what the Imhoff account is? I've no idea what it is.
No, I didn't know what that was.
It's some money that's been put aside from an object that was disposed of, which and there is a balance, and it'll be paid out of the balance of the Imhoff fund, basically. You all in favour of that? Then that is use the Imhoff fund. Thank you. So we go into
Into
Confidential, yeah.
yeah, we're doing confidential now, aren't
Are we doing confidential for Cobblers Fund first and then town?
we? We can do. Save mucking about, wouldn't it? Okay. Right, I'll find myself. Item 11, confidential matters. Under the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, extended by Section 100 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public will be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972 by virtue of the paragraph specifying the item. 1. Information relating to a particular employer, former employer or applicant to become an employer of or a particular office holder under authority. Do we have a proposer?
I propose it.
Second that, Councillor Gray. All in favour? All in favour, thank you.
Sorry guys, confidential.